How's it going, garden people? Welcome to the Hidden Gardens. Round 2 of all our little baby plants have been started from seed, all the cut flowers, vegetables, and such that will be growing in the gardens this year. And as spring approaches, it's time to get out and get some pruning done outside. The tools we'll be using today are my loppers, my pruners, as well as some isopropial alcohol to spray and keep things sanitized out while I'm pruning, some clippercide that I use at the beginning and the end that helps with like fungal sanitization, as well as keeps the tools moving nicely, and also a sharpener because we want some really nice sharp cuts. It's finally time to take this branch off of the coral bark Japanese maple, so I got to it. I cut quite a bit back. I started with my trees in the yards, and then I moved all the way down to the grasses and the ground, and then finally the hellebores. What you have in your gardens and when you prune it, how you prune it, and what you're willing to sacrifice is completely dependent upon you and what you have in your garden. Whether you hire a professional to make sure that things get done right, or you do it yourself to make sure that things get done right, it's really a nice time to get out into the garden and watch things begin to start to come alive. Just a light prune on this cherry tree. Yes, I'm getting some blossoms off, but overall I'm going for the shape of the tree. And it was finally time to remove this front water slide like branch. I took quite a bit of branches from the garden trees this year, actually. Again, though, it comes down to research, but also preference. What do you prefer? What look are you going for? What are you shaping for? What are you trying to achieve for your garden? Because you're the one looking at it, so you have to want to look at it and enjoy it. It seems scary, I know, but the big things to remember is disease, damage, dead, prune for the shape of the plant that you're pruning for. You can't put it back once you cut it off, and you can always come back and cut it later, but don't be scared to cut. I picked this Ruby Tears crabapple up for a great price because it was a end of the season clearance type of sale. What you do get when you get those type of plants are certainly way cheaper than you would at the beginning of the year, but you don't get pick of the litter. It's not the nicest looking plant. It might have a broken branch or two or shaped a little funky. That's the type of challenge you'll face if you're getting those type of plants. Doesn't mean that it's a bad plant. It just means it's going to need a little extra work from you to shape it in the right way. Next up is the Temple of Bloom 7 Sunflower. You can either keep this as a shrub form, or you can do what I'm doing here, which is to shape it up into a tree form. I planted this as a quart and trained up a few branches, and then an explosion of growth happened this past summer. So now I'm cutting off a lot of the growth that I don't want, and I'm training up 5 branches to go straight up so that they'll become the stems or trunks of the tree that I'm creating. Considering the amount of growth that happened for this, what I'm making a tree, I have no concerns about the amount that I'm cutting off. So I'm pretty excited to see what this plant is actually going to do this summer. a fairly interesting plant to watch as it bloomed, and then once it bloomed, it dropped the petals but kept like these calyx, so they were red going into the fall. It was really super pretty, actually. When you're training things, you just want to try and make sure you're not smushing things, like buds that are gonna appear out and branch out. I like these Velcro type ties, one because they're reusable, especially if you sanitize them, but also because you can come back and adjust it, and if it looks like it's not sitting right or whatnot. Also, it doesn't like squish the plant. Some ties, like if you use like twine or something like that, that's going to cut into the plant. You don't want to do that. So these work really well to tie the plant firmly to whatever stake you're trying to, tie it to, and hold it firmly but loosely enough that it's not going to like squish the plant. Moving on, I was able to also get the blackberries and the raspberries pruned back for this year. Everything's looking fairly well in the pot, so that's good. We're gonna make sure we do some more fertilizing and watering this season. But other than that, I think we should have a good season for berries. I also got the blueberries cut back, and the only thing left back to do here are the grapes. This area is definitely a problem area to tackle this season. It's definitely high priority on the list. I want to move all of these things around and change things up over here. A bit more trellising to do as well for the other blackberries in the middle there. I do like having the trellises around the blackberries, one because it makes them into like little mini blackberry trees, which is cool, but it also kind of keeps them up off the ground, which prevents them from like rooting in. I was able to get the grasses cut back as well, which was really, really great. Notes to my future self, don't cut them back so short and maybe get to them a little bit earlier. Now back to where I started. It was finally time to get the hellebores all cleaned up. Notes to future self, clean them up sooner and plant more, as well as this season I'm gonna have to rework this little corner here. When I was planting this Dragon Prince Cryptomeria, it was the end of the season fall, so I was really just trying to get it in there, and there's a lot of foliage in the way, and now there's a plant crammed in there, so I'm gonna have to rework this corner just a little bit. But all in all, these hellebore plants have been amazing in this corner. This season, you can tell I got to this just a little bit late. There's signs of life for the hellebores that I planted this past fall, so that's good. 2 days later, the hellebore plants perked up and are giving off some pretty amazing blooms. So I hope that this inspires you to get out in your garden, continue along your gardening journey, whatever that looks like for you, and thank you for coming along on mine.